all members are important, but all members don't carry the same equal value to your organization. So what happens is, I think that members, of an organization need to be looked at from a lifetime value. And when an organization has misconception that all members have to be treated equally, it creates a heavy undue burden on their limited resources.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Gripe podcast. In this podcast, you'll learn how to grow member-based organizations. I am your host, Farhad Khan. I am the CEO of Gripe Digital. We are a digital agency, and we help professional associations grow their membership by building membership websites. If you want to grow the membership of your professional association, then please check out the learning events on our website at gripe.ca/events. That is grype.ca/events. This is a live recording of our podcast with a live audience at the recording studio. If you're joining us live today, welcome. It's great to have you here. We'll take some questions from the audience as well. So if you have any questions, please submit them on the chat on the right, and we will get to them as soon as we can. And for the first time, we're also streaming this live on YouTube, and we're very excited about that. So if you're joining us from YouTube, welcome. Please submit a question on the YouTube comment thread, and we will get to them as well. Today, we're excited to have Velma Knowles with us. Velma is a best-selling author and a leadership coach for professional associations. Velma, thank you so much for joining us today. Can you start by telling us a bit about yourself and what you do?
Sure. Thank you so much, Farhad, for having me. Thank you for the kind invite. A little bit about me and my work, what I do. I'm a leadership coach and membership strategist. And for the past 20 plus years, I've worked inside membership associations to help them drive sustainable membership growth. At the start of my career, I actually helped the conservation legacy in the Bahamas. So I'm originally from the islands, and it was here that I learned the systematic approach for driving sustainable growth in a very unique way. Today, I have taken those same principles of relevance, engagement, and value, and I have led a 90,000 membership deficit turnaround. And then eventually I went on to be the vice president of member experience, where we achieved 600,000 membership growth in a 3-year period of time. So today I work with purpose-driven organizations that have members and that are looking to grow sustainable growth in their markets. And I do that using the 4 drivers of growth, which I know we'll talk about, but clarity in your numbers, alignment in your resources, relevance in your value, and accountability in your planning. On a personal note, when I'm not driving growth with my association friends, you can find me bike riding, you can find me bird watching and photography, and then pretending I like to exercise.
That's amazing. I'm so much into photography myself as well. So yeah, we should chat about that offline for sure.
For sure. Thank you.
Velma, so we've been working with professional associations for a while now, and we see people trying a number of different things and on and off, right? So what do you think are some of the biggest misconceptions that people have? Like they think they know, but they really don't know,
Okay. So maybe I'll drill it down to 3 big misconceptions I think there is in this marketplace around membership growth. The first big misconception about membership growth is that membership growth is the responsibility of this department or this one person that carries this title with membership in it, like the director of membership or the vice president of membership and marketing. And, membership, if you're a membership organization, then member growth is everyone's responsibility. It's not a department or a person. And when I work with my clients, one of the things we focus on is really breaking down the silos. I know nobody wants to talk about them, but breaking down those silos that can result in putting you on a path to sustainable growth. The second misconception, Farhad, I would say, is around thinking that all members are created equal. And they're not. All members are important, but all members don't carry the same equal value to your organization. So so what happens is, I think that members, of an organization need to be looked at from a lifetime value. And when an organization has misconception that all members have to be treated equally, it creates a heavy undue burden on their limited resources. So, when you're investigating new member retention or member recruitment or win-back strategies, I believe that you need to leverage your data analytics, your data insight, the information you already know that you have, to help you identify who our future members should be, and then give a high priority in renewing the existing ones that are good members to have and retain. And probably the third misconception, of course, the first one we talked about is that membership is some department or some person's responsibility, or membership is all members are equal and valuable. But I think the third one is thinking that you can email your way to growth. And what I mean by that is that because email is very easy and cost effective, there's a tendency to overuse that channel in your recruitment and in your retention strategies to grow your membership. Research proves that if we utilize what is known as the omni-channel marketing strategy, it's the best way for you to grow your members consistently and sustainable. And let me just clarify, when I say omni-channel, I'm talking about when you deliver that consistent member personalized experience, regardless of the channel that a member engages with you, and regardless of the device, if it's mobile, if it's desktop, or if it's the tablet, versus what we know as in the marketing world as multi-channel marketing. Folks on the call probably know multi-channel is, I have a social media, I have a website, I do direct mail, but all those channels operate independently. And and we think that we are, growing our membership that way, but we're really giving a bumpy road to the member experience and somewhat suppressing some of our growth. So I think that's a misconception we have in the marketplace about growing our membership.
I love those. So I have a quick question about breaking down the silos that you mentioned between the different departments.
Sure.
Do you have any approach, on how you can break down the silos?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, it's been the catalyst. I would encourage the listeners and all association leaders to consider that there is such talent in your resources. I mean, you have such great, valuable resources already at your fingertips. And so when I was working inside an association as a marketing director, one of the things that when I talked about that 90,000 member deficit turnaround, the way that happened, while I was tasked to chair this, cross-functional team, what happened was this cross-functional team came together and we had a representative from the different departments. Now, that was a pretty large organization, 4.5 million members. So you can do the same in a smaller organization. I've worked in the small organizations with less than 1,000 members. It's whatever resources you have at your fingertips, inside and outside your organization. So when I say outside, I'm talking about the vendors or partners that you're working with, right? They have ideas, bring them to the table and bring other members in your organization, someone from your accounting department that they may think, what do I know about membership? Actually, they have a lot of great insight. And what we did was I brought this team together, cross-functional team, and we sat down and we asked why. We looked at data. We came up with ideas. We tested over and over, and we found out what worked, and then we scaled it. And we did it consistently with a plan in a very strategic way. So it was a great way to break down the silo because I got buy-in across the organization. And also I got ideas that would have never come from just me or someone in the marketing or membership department. And I think that that's one thing that I would encourage every organization to consider. Are you truly a member first cultural organization. And if you are, then everyone in your organization is member first.
Right. I love the idea of cross-functional teams. We do that a lot.
Yeah.
Alrighty, good. You mentioned that there are like 4 key ingredients to driving member growth. So Velma, can we jump onto that right now? You want to talk about that a little more?
Yeah, no problem. So one of the things that I have is a change model. So when working with clients, we walk through these 4 key drivers of growth. And we do that from a consulting or from a coaching perspective. And the first thing we do is we clarify the numbers. And what I mean by that is you have to understand your membership dashboard. You have to understand what are the metrics, the KPIs or key performance indicators that you're looking at to determine whether or not your membership is growing, if your membership is engaging, if your membership is, behaving the way that you anticipate. So clarifying your numbers is the first thing in this, what I call pathway to sustainable growth. Because if you can't measure it, then you can't manage it. And the reason it's so important is because sometimes, we have a perception, there could be a perception of this is how you measure something. And in working with my clients, I've found that the formulas might not have necessarily been the right formulas. And therefore, they were getting not the right information to help them make good decisions. So first, clarify your numbers. The second driver on your pathway to sustainable growth is what we talked about in breaking down these silos. And it's alignment of your resources, bringing together inside your organization and outside your organization, the talent and the thought leaders and thinkers, those that have expertise in your organization outside of membership, because they can ask why, they can challenge you to come up with new ideas. So I do quite a bit of scenario planning, task force ideation. One of the things I launched with a client was called Team Tiger. And Team Tiger was representatives from the different areas of the organization. And we came together on 4 times a year. And we had these quarterly Tiger workshops where we brainstormed new ideas, we tackled challenges, we looked at member data. We came up with things that we could test and then scale to really help us move the needle on our membership growth. So alignment of your resources inside and outside your organization is a driver for your growth. And then the third driver is what is known as relevance in your value. Value proposition is the reason why someone wants to become a member. There's some value they're going to get for being a member. And the key that we have to keep in mind here is how relevant is it? Because value to you and value to me is totally different. So understanding how to get relevant value for your members by segmentation and personalization is a key driver to help you sustain growth. And then the fourth driver is accountability and planning, because as we know, all these great ideas are just great ideas until you execute. And when you execute on those ideas, that's when you can measure the impact. And that's where you need to hold people accountable for getting things done, because there's limited resources. And especially in association world, you're putting out fires all the time. So having that plan and the accountability around it gives you that path forward. And we know what we focus on is what we're going to achieve. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So out of those 4 key drivers, where do you think people should start?
Well, it depends on where you are in your journey. I always start when I engage, and I would encourage, everyone on the call and other listeners to the podcast, I would encourage you to start first with your performance. You've got to know where you are to then determine where you want to go and then create that path forward. Because if you bring resources together, they're going to say, okay, so tell me where we are, right? So understanding where you are in your numbers, I would start with clarifying my numbers, make sure I've got good data to make data-driven decisions.
That's a good segue to my next question. You published an article recently at the ASAE, and there you mentioned that it is very important to listen to your members more. And we are living in an increasingly noisy world. Everyone is trying to get their voices heard. So
Right.
as an association, as a member manager, how do you listen more to your members? How do you tune in?
Wow. Well, yeah, I'm going to kind of answer that in a different way you might not expect, but I'll answer it eventually. First of all, I don't believe that the challenge with associations is that we're not listening to our members. I mean, I believe that, they listen to their members. I believe that you as an association, you're surveying your members, you're talking to them, you're asking, so I think that the bigger challenge here is that how are associations leveraging what their members are telling them? And so if you ask your members for feedback, and there is little value if you don't do anything with that feedback. So, so I think it's less about listening in the fact that they are listening. It's what are you doing with what you're hearing? Now, I do want to answer your question because I'm not dodging it. So, if you want another way to listen to your members, in addition to traditional surveys or focus groups or calling your members, the things that we know are traditional, one of the things you could do is with one of my clients, we set up an member advisory group. And this member advisory group is all about having members opt in so that online you can poll out questions at any point in time to get real-time member insight and member feedback. Now, that's great, and it gives you the member's perspective of what they are saying and what they think. But another way, if you really want to, upscale your way of listening to members, is to invest in some software around. You're probably familiar with AI, which is artificial intelligence, but there's a lot of different software out there that, although sounds scary, artificial, it could really help you identify benefits of where, track your members' behavior. Because members will tell us one thing and then they have a tendency to do something else, right? So understanding behavior of your members through data insight and through artificial intelligence to really track what are your members using in their benefits, what articles are they reading in their newsletter, where are they going on your website. That can give you a lot of insight into really what are your members saying, and help you listen with your eyes, actually, more than your ears.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And in that article, I'm going to refer back to that article quite a bit since I read it thoroughly.
No problem. And I'm happy to share if with your permission, I'm happy to share a link for anyone else that would like to read the article. It got quite a bit of traction, and so in the US, and so for the Canadian folks that might be on or other areas, I'm happy to share it if you would like.
Absolutely, we'll do that. Okay. Yeah, so you mentioned that it's very important for associations to build relationships with their members and really invest in relationships. So if we are kind of onboarding a new member and they're going through the membership journey, what do we need to do to actually give them a good membership journey and then start building the relationship from the get-go?
Okay, so member journey starts before someone joins. Actually, it's because you have one time to make a good first impression, and I truly believe that you have to put on the white gloves and roll out the red carpet for your members from the recruitment side. When you talk about future members, you have to start there, and we know that our first year members are the lowest renewing. And so having a very personalized experience for them where someone joins, the moment they join, we're sending them a welcome email. We know the whole drill, right? This member journey, they're going to get so many touch points. But when the member goes into their online profile and they set up their profile and they check the things and they give information about themselves, it's that moment of truth, that member moment, that you have an opportunity to create more than an engagement, but actually a member experience. Because you have the opportunity to then reach out privately to that member, that new member, and personally welcome them and make a connection with them, because we know that member engagement is less about your products, although that's what we seem to focus on, these benefits, getting them to use the benefits. And it's more about the connection that the members make, the relationships that they make with the organization, because people will find another product somewhere else. I mean, there's so much, maturity of products now. There's so much competition. So they'll find it somewhere else. But that personal connection to the organization, that's what your organization can give them, to give them a real smooth member journey and help them to customize what it is that they want, so you could provide relevant solutions.
I'm so glad you're saying that, because I say that all the time on the webinars that transactions are easy to walk away from, but when you build a relationship with someone, those are very difficult to break. So you actually make your membership very sticky by building a relationship with your audience. Right. So Velma, I know that if we actually have a pretty big member base, and if we are kind of limited on resources, we will probably not get the chance to reach out to each member one-on-one. Maybe we will, but most associations will probably not get the chance. So how do we build a relationship at scale?
Okay. So when we talk about scale, everyone wants that, right? Don't we? I mean, we all want to be able to leap tall buildings in a single bound, I would say. But I think there are two approaches to help you scale when we talk about membership growth. My background, last position was with 12.6 million members in 10 different markets across the US. And so there's no way we could touch personally every one of those members. But through one, segmentation, and two, personalization, we were able to have a higher engagement, therefore giving us a higher retention. And what I mean by that is segment your members based on attributes like their membership information, what type of membership they have, right? Their transactions that they have with you, which is behavioral data, demographic data, but bring multiple variables together and come up with a predictive way of understanding what your members' needs are. When you segment your members based on data, you are, a collection of your data points. You really have good insight, one, to justify to your board and leadership why you want to do certain things, but two, it helps you to be very relevant to your members. And then the second way to really, leap that building, get that scale that you want, is through personalization. And personalization requires you, regardless of the number of resources you have. If you're a big organization, you've got a lot of resources, but you still don't have enough to serve your members one-on-one. So you have to leverage technology, technology from, a number of different softwares. But, I truly believe the understanding, AI software where you can personalize newsletters on an individual basis, or you can, give your members based on specific interests, what it is that they want. Because the member profile will tell you one thing. I come in, I join, and I say, yes, I'd love to have this particular benefit. But if that was 50 years ago, right, things are changing at warp speed. And the member isn't sitting there saying, whoops, I forgot to go back in and update my information because I'm not interested in that anymore. So, association leaders, we have to you have to leverage the technology to help us to stay at pace with our members and the changes that are going on. So those are the two areas: segment your members, and then, personalize by the use of leveraging technology to help you.
That's great. Now, if we are not able to collect a lot of data on the members, because say we are a relatively small association and we don't actually have a lot of budget or resources to actually do that, what are some of the key metrics would you want to actually measure for your members? Is it benefits or something else?
Well, there are fundamentally key drivers in your KPIs, your key performance indicators. And so first and foremost, because we know that membership, new members, we know that, understanding the tenure of your members, right? How long have they been a member? So when I look at data, I slice it a couple ways. I look at tenure. So I say, how long has it been a member? My first year members, my second year members, my third year members, those early tenures, right? They're in the honeymoon period. And if you start looking at your data as an association leader, you know that your first 1 to 3 year members, they have the lowest renewal rate. Okay, first year, then second, then third, because you need time with them to really educate them and get them to use their member benefits, help them solve the challenges that they came to you for. And then we know that there's a certain, depending on the association, there is a certain point where you have a member and like one of my clients, when they got a member, we got a member 7 years or more in tenure, we had them for life pretty much. Okay. I mean, we had, 90s retention rate for that because we had enough time with them and we were able to give them the value that they needed. So you have to look at your member tenure. That's first and foremost. Understand the usage of what are your members using. So as much as you can collect data, if you have a small, understand, are members attending your conferences? Are members signing into their member portal, right? I know we'll talk about that, but are they online? Are they, using the membership that they purchased? Because the first thing, you can always prioritize that and start to look at data to say, okay, they're using these benefits, but they're not using all these other benefits that we have. So you have to ask yourself the question, are they not using them because there's not value? Are they not aware of them? Are they not relevant? Or are they not using them because of some other reason? And just knowing who uses benefits and who doesn't is a good indicator, a good KPI for those that will renew and those that won't. Because members that use their membership have a higher probability of renewing, which, but if you have members, if you look in your data and you say, you know what, these members haven't used anything in the membership in the last 6 months or 7 months, that's what is known as your at-risk members. Those members are at risk of not renewing. And I would put my resources there and say, what have I done to turn that at-risk group around, and who can I salvage from that? Because we know it costs more to get a new member than it is to keep one we already have.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sorry, absolutely. And I guess too many people worry about renewal rates at the end of the membership period, right? And then people are scrambling, okay, how can we get our renewal rates up? But I think by then it's too late, like you mentioned, that people who are not using the benefits, they're the one at risk. So the activity or intervention has to happen way early, not at the time of renewal.
Yeah. No, I mean, the moment the member joins is your opportunity to renew. And renew over and over again, because a member can make the decision to renew, within a month after they join, because they could say, you know what, I didn't get anything out of this. And then they've made that decision, or they say, man, I mean, this membership already paid for itself. It's a no-brainer. And so they've already made that decision. It's not like it comes around and then they get the renewal notice or, the email reminder saying, hey, your membership's, that's not the point necessarily when they're making that decision. Some members make the decision all along the member journey. And that decision, is something you as that leader in the association, you can control that, because you can control the member experience. And the member experience is bigger than member engagement. Engagement is what the organization focuses on. Experience is what the member focuses on.
Absolutely. And since we build membership portals, membership websites for a living, you knew that I'm going to ask you some membership website questions.
Right.
We think that investing in a good membership website is one of the best investments an association can make, if they already don't have one.
Sure.
Can you share, for the associations who do not have a membership website yet, can you share some reasons why a membership website is so important?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so out of sight, out of mind. first and foremost, right? And the website, if you don't have an association website, it doesn't have to be elaborate. You can just get that up. But I really believe that the number one reason why associations have to have a membership website where a member portal that members can go to is because you have to give members this digital home. They have to have a place where they can experience the association's value, and they need to be able to do that at any point that's more convenient for them, which means as that association leader, you need to give them that 24/7, 365 days a year access for whenever they want, the convenience that they want to be able to connect with their association. That member portal is the one-stop shop. It's where members will find everything they want and need to do with your association. And the goal of the association, why you have members, is because you're bringing together all these strangers that have a common interest that are allowed to talk to each other, right? I don't know, when I was growing up in the Bahamas, my mother used to say, don't talk to strangers, right? But a member portal the website is your opportunity to allow all of these members to come together. You're creating this gateway, and you're allowing them to connect with each other and to share common interest with people that they never met in their life. And I think that's a huge value, and why we should have a website. The other thing is, I'm sorry, but we're in the expectation economy. So members have high expectations that you're going to have a website. I mean, it's a no-brainer, right? You're going to have one, and it's imperative that you give your members that central place and make it easy for them, make it seamless and easy to solve their challenges, because that's another step on your path to sustainable growth.
So for the other group of people in our audience who probably have a membership website, but it's not super advanced, so what would you advise them? What needs to happen in a member portal to drive better engagement?
For better engagement in whether it's online or on the phone or anywhere, you need to make it easy to do business with you. You need to make it seamless in the experience, right? Because it's you want members to engage with you, and as a consumer yourself, if you've got to click through 5 times to get the answer that you want, or if you've got something clunky in your experience online or even on the phone when you call in someplace in the service, if that experience is in any way clunky, you're already saying, I can't engage with this organization. It's too difficult. And you want to remove the barriers. So I think your website, if you have one, the best thing to do is say, is it seamless? Is it easy to do business with us? Can a member come in and participate in our online community discussions? Can they search their member directory? Can they contact a member or a vendor that's in our directory? Can they purchase an industry report if they need, register for my conference? Whatever it is that you're offering them, can they do those activities in a seamless, easy to do way? Because your website should be self-serving. It should be where the member can serve themselves, update their data, and get great products and services and benefits and solutions at the point and click.
Right. We have actually heard this complaint from some associations that they think having a gated members area where members have to log in is kind of a bit of a barrier. Okay. Do you think it's a barrier? It's just one login.
Right. Okay. So I think it's an interesting point about member login being a barrier. And I don't know whether I would ask the question, is the login to your member portal what is known as one single sign-on? So SSO, is it a single sign-on? And if it's not, then you're absolutely right. Logging into your member portal is probably a barrier to engagement because it's difficult to get in, right? But single sign-on, that's normal. Again, I go back to this expected economy, right? Put yourself in the member's shoes, or as a consumer yourself, right? When you are signing into any account, you have this single sign-on. Nobody wants to keep track of this username and this password, and I got to have one for the website, and I got to have one for the learning platform, and one for the online community, and one to register for the conference, or one for my member portal. No, keep it simple and have one username, one password, and better yet, and maybe, far ahead, you guys do this, I'm not sure, but allow your members to have the ability to simplify their process by giving them, a way that they could sign in maybe with Google or with Facebook or with Apple. I know that sometimes, I'll try to sign into an account that I have membership with, and I can't remember my username, or I get my password wrong or something because I didn't save it, in my cache. And it'll have the option, hey, continue to sign on with Google, continue to sign on with Facebook, and you get to pick it. So, I have an option. I don't have to get frustrated, and your members don't have to be frustrated that they don't have a way to getting onto their member website or member portal. And so I think that is that's what I would suggest that we do to make it easy for them and have a good experience.
Right. Now, digging deeper into the member portal experience overall, like we see that many associations will actually have a variety of benefits, variety of services, right? And some are heavily used, some are not at all.
Right.
So how would you say how much time association should actually invest on certain benefits as opposed to the other based on engagement? Is it if you see a few people using one benefit but it's costing you a lot, is there any value in keeping it even?
Okay. So good example there, because I think what we're talking about is sacred cows. I don't know if you've ever read the book, Sacred Cows Make the Best Burgers.
No.
But but it's all about change. And if you have member benefits, and we all do, that members are not using anymore, then it's time to put those sacred cows out to pasture. Some benefits, may have been relevant 10 years ago or 100 years ago, but when your association was was originally formed, but things have changed. And when members' needs and wants change, your benefits need to do that as well. Let me give you a good example that you can relate to. So I spent a large amount of my career within the AAA, which is the American Automobile Association, similar to your Canadian Automobile Association or Europe, wherever you may be. It's the Auto Club. And one of the things that was the second highest, most valued benefit is the travel triptychs. And if you remember triptychs, it was an actual paper way that you could route a trip, and it would tell you where all of the roadblocks were, speeding traps, fastest route to your travel destination on the road. Well, it was like I said, very valuable. And AAA is known for its triptychs. However, AAA also had the vision and insight to see that MapQuest was a lot easier, right? There's so many now online ways. So did we sunset triptychs? Well, technically the manual process, yes. But what we did was we actually took that concept and we up-leveled it. So you can get an online, version of a triptych. So you can get that digital triptych, if you will, which is right on your phone. They didn't sunset it, but we just upgraded it. So if you have a benefit that members are not using, then you need to do some research. You need to ask qualitative and quantitative research there. You got to ask questions like, well, why are members no longer using it if they were using it? First, is there a better alternative? Do you need to do what you have now and make it more digital? Or is it irrelevant? It's no longer relevant because it's a commodity and everybody has it and you can get it for free, right? Or it's been replaced with a totally different product and you don't have that innovation in your organization. So maybe you should sunset it. But I would keep in mind that every benefit you have, there is an emotional tie to it. It is. Somebody somewhere had that idea. and they may still be in the organization. I don't know, but think about from research, is it worth keeping? Because there are advantageous benefits for having quality benefits that members use versus quantity. This large number of benefits doesn't necessarily mean that you've got great value. You could have 2 or 3 benefits that have enormous value and members are using them versus 25 benefits and they're not using. And you also have the advantage, Farhad, when you sunset benefits that members are no longer using. You free up those limited resources we've been talking about with your staff, because it takes energy to keep all of these benefits and programs running in the background. And if nobody's using them and if they're not relevant anymore, then redirect your resources to the benefits and the member experiences that you want to create. Also, those benefits, like you said, are in that portal and they're taking up precious real estate. And sometimes you have so much information, what they say, like less is better, right? It's not more is best. So the less you have, the more clear you are in your communication, the easier it is for your members to digest it and to engage versus I got to sift through all of this content and 50% of it is not relevant. So that gives you precious real estate online and frees up your resources when you sunset some of these underutilized or no benefits with no use from our members.
Right. So for an association who's going through that exercise right now, kind of like reviewing their benefits or restructuring, repackaging them, in your experience, do you think that some types of benefits are actually like more used by members as opposed to other? Are there like different types or buckets that you would like focus more on?
Yeah. So when we talk about benefits, the member benefits, I would say from research and working with my clients, what I've seen is probably, and of course, this is going to depend if you are a trade association or if you're an individual professional association, but there's really 4 universal categories, if you will, if we can bucket them there, that will help you drive member engagement at this particular season. So everything for a time and a season. Number 1 is right now, member-only job boards. So we are going through what has been coined this great resignation. It's underway. And if you've read anything about what's happening in the workforce, this season in our life, there's this huge consideration about my work and my career and what I'm doing. And members need their association to lead the way in helping them to solve this challenge around their career opportunities. I mean, I think that you as an association leader, everyone wants to find the right job. And you can help solve that problem for them. You can, help them overcome that challenge by having this member-only job board that members would join to have access to those first on the scene opportunities in their specific industry. The second universal, if you will, I think is what is known as the member-only education. And you keep hearing me say member-only because membership is about access first and foremost. It is the gateway for your member to be able to get the value that you want to give them. So member-only education, especially with the multi-generational market that we have, we have our baby boomers and others that want more information. We have our younger generations, right? Generation X and Z that are saying, I want to sharpen my skills and learn more. So there's the certification process and need for CEUs. So as an association leader, you can give your members this opportunity to have member-only education through exclusive workshops, seminars, and conferences, or special interest groups, SIGs, right, where they can come together and share ideas and brainstorm with each other and help them. I think another area, the third area, I would say, that's universal, if you're looking at it, is the member-only communities. And this kind of pivots off of education into that associations is the place to connect and build those relationships with those like-minded individuals. So people need each other. I mean, we're social creatures, and if anything, in the last 2 years, we need to connect more with each other. So having that online member-only community where members can come together and they can learn and share with each other, and they do it in the off times when they can't be together face to face. I think that's incredibly beneficial. It also allows you to provide opportunities for partnerships with similar types of organizations that are not competing directly with you in your industry space. And then I guess the fourth area that's a universal benefit that I've seen with some of my clients is this member-only industry insight. And what I mean by that is your members want to stay up to date on the latest trends and developments within their industry. So it's essential for the association as the leader to say, I'm going to be that, portal for that industry insight. And there's a lot of information in this world today. I mean, just ask Google, right? You go out, you Google it, and you got a lot of information. And so it's easy accessible. But what I'm talking about is packaging that information into insight, and that will help your members make better decisions in their area of expertise. So information is data points, and they help you understand something, right? But insights is where you as an association leader can have a competitive advantage, because you can give, you can analyze the data and then see the trends and the potential barriers and opportunities and synchronize that and give that to your members in bite-sized industry reports that they can consume and take immediate action on. So I think, Farhad, those are 4 areas or benefits that are universal for this particular season that really would create value for your membership.
I think that's great. And this particular podcast is like industry insights for our audience. So yeah, I can totally relate to that.
There you go. One solution right here.
Right. Since we're running out of time, I'm going to jump onto the audience questions at this point.
Sure.
Our first question is from Wendy Vogel. Wendy is asking, are membership drives out of fashion now?
Okay, Wendy. So I would ask you, is your membership drive working? Because if it's working, it's not out of fashion, okay? If it's working in your environment with your members, then it's not out of fashion. Does it need to be refreshed? Does it need to be rejuvenated? Perhaps, but I think you have to define membership campaign. And what do you mean by that? There should be membership drives going on. You're in the membership business. Part of your membership strategy is to recruit new members, retain the ones you have. And there are various ways and strategies and tactics to do that. But I don't think that it's out of fashion. If it's working for you, I would say, how do you make it work better? That would be my answer for that one.
Wonderful. Next question is from Scott Oser. Oh, shout out to Scott. He was a guest on our podcast.
Hi, Scott.
So Scott is asking, how do you engage members when you have limited resources? I think we talked about that briefly.
Yeah, we did. So Scott, as the expert in this member engagement circle yourself, that leveraging technology as much as you can help you when you have limited resources. Resources are people, time, money. And so how much of the money, the resources, are you leveraging in technology that helps you to build a seamless member experience so you can engage your members? And one of the areas we talked about, Scott, is using software like artificial intelligence to help you understand what your members are interested in, what their behaviors are, where they're going, because that will tell you how your members are engaging with you versus trying to run a number of surveys or phone calls where you're one getting delayed information if it's surveys, right? Because they're telling you something and they may not be doing it. And then you just don't have the resources for, picking up the phone and talking to every member.
Our next question is from Tina Gears. Tina is asking, how often do I add new content to different membership levels?
Okay. So Tina, new content, is it needed? I guess the question I would ask is it needed? Because there's not this set point in time that says, well, every 3 months you should add new content. If the content that you're putting out to your members is relevant to them, first and foremost, I think it's less about this quantity and more about the quality of what you're giving. So if you're giving relevant content now that is providing valuable solutions to the challenges that your members are saying, hey, I've got this challenge, you're my association, I come to you to help me solve that. And if you're solving that for them, I think focus on the quality of relevant, valuable content versus is it so much new content I've got to be putting out.
Absolutely. And what we try to do, Tina, as well, is that we try to create evergreen content. So content that we create once and it can live on your portal, on your site for a very long time, right? So it's not too timely. These are more about like broad topics that can live on for a long time. All right. Our next question is from Joy Joshiko, if I'm pronouncing the name right. But Joy is asking, what are some effective strategies to recover memberships that were lost during the pandemic?
Wow. Okay. So Joy, you are not alone. Let me say that, right? Because every organization in one way or another has been impacted. And I think that you're talking about win-back strategies, right? You're talking about members that have either lapsed or canceled. And there's two different things. If they've lapsed in their membership, right, meaning they forgot to renew or they did not renew and you didn't hear from them, they didn't email you and say, hey, don't ever send me a piece again. Those members right there are lapsed in their membership. You have an opportunity to go back to them. And I would go back to them with why they were members in the first place, because your member recruitment message, why somebody would join, with a social proof, with a member testimonial of how, the organization, what has the organization done during the pandemic to serve the members you do have? That's the opportunity to tell those members that didn't come along with you for whatever reason. Maybe they lost their jobs, maybe their health was impacted, we don't know, but it's an opportunity to go back with them and say, here's what the organization, here's what your association has done for members during this pandemic, and we want to do for you. And let them know, because they haven't been engaged, so they don't know all the great stuff that you have been doing to serve your members during this time. So that's one thing I would do for those that have lapsed, those that have canceled their membership and said, you know what, hey, I'm not going to renew. They actually told you they're not going to renew. Then I think you need to go back and ask. You need to go back and ask them, what could you do as an association to win back, for them to come back? And I think you have to understand from them, if they say there's nothing you could do, then it's, more of a question around the value proposition that they were getting versus the price. If they say, you know what, the price was just too much, I can't afford it, it gives you an ability to get some feedback and see, is it really members are saying, I can't afford the annual dues if you're on an annual dues. One of my clients had that. We had members that canceled. And so we went and we, asked members about, what would it take for them to come back? And one of the answers that came up was, hey, if you could offer a payment plan, it would help me out. And so we didn't have a payment plan. It was you pay your dues. It was an annual dues, calendar year membership. We didn't have this month, every month. So what we were able to do was through automatic renewal, right? Auto pay, we were able to give them 3 installments. And that was able to allow some members that had canceled to be able to come back, because they could manage the price of membership to be able to come back in. So hope that helps you.
I love that idea. We're actually implementing payment plans for one of our clients right now as we speak.
Yeah.
All right. Another question from Anna Shaw. She is asking, if you have some member engagement, how do you convert some engagement into revenue generating opportunities?
Okay. So, Anna, I would ask you, when we talk about engagement, what are you measuring for engagement? Because, a member that registers for your annual conference or registers for an online webinar or and they're paying for some benefit that you have, access to some benefit that you have, that's a form of engagement. They're raising their hand and they're saying, hey, I'm buying my ticket to the conference. I'm coming online to register for this webinar. So how many people are registering is a form of engagement. And are they registering, year over year? Did you have members that came to the conference or came to one of these webinars, or that, purchased some other benefit that you have that you're giving them access to through membership? And then they didn't do that the following year or so forth. So I would look at what are the benefits you're offering your members now that are outside the price of membership, meaning membership gave them access to things that they could buy, like a registration for a conference or a webinar, or be able to download a particular industry report, or, buy this book or some other type of product that you have available to your members that has a member price versus maybe a non-member price, because that's a measurement for engagement.
Wonderful. I'll take our last question from the audience. This is
Sure.
from Chris Martz, and this is a wonderful question. How do you deal with an organization that has membership as its first pillar in the strategic plan, but in the day-to-day execution, you do not see that at all? Like, people are mostly focusing on distractions and other things. So
Right.
how do you deal with an organization like that if you are an employee in the organization?
Okay. So what was the gentleman's name?
Chris Martz.
Chris. Okay. So Chris, yeah. So Chris, coming from that world where there's multiple business lines, right? I totally understand why you're asking the question. I will go back to the challenge of whether the organization is a membership organization or something else. Because if you are a membership organization, then membership is really not one piece of a multiple number of business lines. So when you look at AAA, it's a membership organization, but it has a huge insurance business line. It has a huge travel business line that are individuals. But honestly, one of the things that you have to have is you have to have leadership buy-in, that we are first and foremost a membership organization. We exist for membership, and I will credit the leaders that I worked with in my tenure in AAA. A part of them, they were like, you know what? If insurance wants to grow, the best way for them to grow is to be able to offer something relevant to our members. And therefore, they have to have a member benefit, a member value. And we are a membership organization, and we need to make sure that we're relevant and valuable to our members first. And that's how other business lines were able to grow, by being challenged in a nice way to come up with member value versus non-member value, where you can then offer the members. And it allowed us to really have a comprehensive communication plan to our members. But it starts with leadership, Chris.
And I guess, like Velma, you mentioned that cross-functional teams are key as well. So we need to have that cross-functional teams and that like platform for different teams to actually talk to each other as well, to make that communication happen.
Absolutely. I mean, then you have champions across your organization that can speak for the member and for the value of having membership as the core, the central, becoming member first in your culture.
All right. We are running out of time. So if there was one key takeaway for our audience, Velma, what would that be?
Wow. Well, as a leader in a membership organization, I would invite you to give yourself some grace, and give your staff some grace as well. Be open to new ideas. Testing, membership is a journey. It's not the destination. It's a continuous journey. If you're on a calendar year, every year, you start at 0 members and you start all over, right? So know that if you have to test ideas, be open to testing ideas, and then identifying what works, what's relevant and valuable to your members. And if it works, then scale what works. That's what I would encourage you to do.
Wonderful. So hearing you, Velma, I know that you are a very effective leader. Can you share a personal habit that has contributed the most to your success for our audience?
Sure. Yeah. So I think that the one thing that really grounds me and that helps me with my success in however you would define success is every morning I get up and I spend time in meditation and praying and reading my Bible, because that time provides me with the direction and the wisdom that I need for the day. And I live for that day with the fuel that I get from that morning time. So so that's where I get my personal habit, that really contributes to my success. It starts in the morning with prayer and meditation.
I love that. I start my morning with meditations as well. So I'm a big fan of that already. All right. Velma, how can people reach you if they have any questions?
It's pretty easy. It's my name, Velma, Velma, and my last name is Knowles, Knowles. So you can reach me on my website, velmaknowles.com. Very easy.
Wonderful. Velma, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hey, thank you so much, Farhad. I had a blast. I really appreciate you.
Alrighty. That was the episode with Velma today. I learned so much from this one episode. I'm pretty sure you learned a lot as well. And I really hope that you took some notes. We always go to many events, attend seminars and webinars and whatnot. But unless you start to take action, nothing really happens. So you have to start taking action on the things that you learn. And if you want to learn more about member engagement, member management, or membership growth, please take a look at the learning events on our website at grype.ca/events. That is grype.ca/events. And if you happen to join us live today, thank you so much for giving us your valuable time. And we hope to see you in one of our future webinars and podcasts once again. Alrighty, that's it for today. Bye for now.